In today's video, I continue using the Jordan Page shelf cooking method and cook from scratch at home without going to the store to buy ingredients. All the recipes I have in the description box below for you, and now let's start cooking. Hi, I am Irene and this channel is all about budgeting, frugal living, saving money and doing more with less. Today I save money by cooking at home and not go to the store to buy a single ingredient. I start with the broccoli pie. It was inspired by Betty Crocker recipe of the impossible easy broccoli and chicken pie. But the Betty's recipe calls for store-bought biscuit mix. I don't have it and never buy it at the store, so just did it from scratch. To the mix I added milk, eggs, salt, pepper and the filling. For the filling I have some frozen chopped onions, broccoli florets, cooked bologna and shredded cheese. I use half as much cheese as in Betty's recipe and it is more than enough. The recipe is very easy, just mix everything well and pour into the greased pie dish and bake in the preheated to 400 Fahrenheit oven for 25-35 minutes or until the knife inserted in the center comes out clean. The next stop is baked chicken breasts. I cut them into strips without cutting through and improvise. I add to them some salt, pepper, completely eyeballing, some sliced cheese, breadcrumbs, a little bit of shredded cheese and sprinkle with oil. I will bake them in the preheated oven at 350 Fahrenheit for around 15 minutes or until the chicken will be done. Next goes the salmon. This fish I had in the freezer and the whole batch I divide into two parts. The smaller one I will use to make salted salmon and this part you are seeing on the video I will bake. So need to marinate the salmon and add to it pepper, salt, some soy sauce and lemon juice. Mix well, cover with the lid and transfer into the fridge to marinate well. Now continue with the rest of the fish. This is how I do the salted salmon. Into a small bowl add salt, sugar and mix. Then with a paper towel pat dry the salmon pieces and massage this mixture into the fish from all sides so the fish will be covered well with the salty mixture. Place into the airtight container and store in the fridge for 24 hours. After 24 hours have passed, uncover, remove the fish, wipe it with napkins until there will be no salt mixture and the fish will be dry. Place into a clean container and store in the fridge for up to 4 days. If you like a more salty salmon, let the fish sit in the fridge for 48 or more hours. I do the 24 hours version and it is completely fine for us. Nobody who tried this recipe got sick after eating this salted salmon. And this is how the sliced salmon looks like after 24 hours. After the fish, I started prepping the batter for the chicken pancakes. These chicken breasts I had in the freezer, so the night before I defrosted them and now need to cut into cubes to grind in a food processor. Mine is a pretty cheap one, its price was like $50, but after around 3 years of use it still works. I place the chicken in the food processor, add some minced garlic I had in the fridge and eggs. The recipe calls for sour cream, but I don't want to use so much sour cream, so use some sour cream leftovers I had in the fridge, Greek yogurt and a little bit of sour cream from a new tub. I don't really follow the recipe to the T, that is totally okay to substitute the ingredients. Here you can see the broccoli pie right from the oven. While it is cooling on the countertop, I will cut some green onions for the chicken pancakes. These onions I grew by myself in my little garden on the balcony. Then I transferred the chicken mixture into the bowl, add the onions, some ground black pepper, paprika and flour. You don't need to stick to the recipe when adding the flour. The eggs you use can be bigger than mine or the chicken was wetter, so the resulting butter will need a little bit more or less flour. Just add it spoon by spoon, mixed and check if you need more. The resulting butter should be pretty thick, thicker than for the regular pancakes. It should fall off and not drip off the spoon. And meanwhile we have our chicken breasts ready. Here is how they look like. While they are cooling out, I will bake the marinated salmon. Remember, we put it in the fridge. This is time for it to bake in the oven. I will bake at 350 Fahrenheit for around 20 minutes, checking occasionally. And while the salmon is in the oven, I transfer the chicken into the container. Something green you see on the chicken breast is chopped parsley mixed with minced garlic. This is leftover parsley I had in the fridge for a long time and it started to turn tired. It faded, but we do not waste ingredients in this kitchen, so parsley was successfully used in this recipe. I just added it at the last minute. Now I am prepping the filling for a cinnamon rolls cake. The recipe will be in the description box below or in the first comment to this video. Set the mixture aside and continue with the dry ingredients for the cake. I got this recipe from the Gemma Stafford YouTube channel, The Bigger Bolder Baking. I leave the link in the description box below. She's very professional and her recipes turn out well always. I changed the recipe a little bit and I am using half as much sugar for the filling. Same I do for the cake, just add half of the sugar. In all American recipes I always cut the sugar at least in half and it works for us. The original recipe is always too sweet for us. So I prepared the dry and wet ingredients separately and set aside because I have the salmon in the oven. Meanwhile, I can fry the chicken pancakes. I don't want to add too much oil to them, so basically cook them under the lid with some water. Let me show you for a second the baked salmon and we will continue with the pancakes. I doubled the recipe and got 33 pancakes. This is 6 servings for us and 3 leftover pancakes I will eat for lunch on one of the weekdays. The broccoli pie I already have cut into 8 pieces, and look how colorful it is. While the cinnamon roll cake is in the oven, I continue frying the pancakes. For the pie, I just added the wet ingredients into dry, whisked until no clumps, and poured the butter into the 9-inch round cake pan. The cinnamon filling I placed randomly over the butter on top of the cake, pressing a little bit with a spoon. In the original recipe, jam I uses piping bag fitted with a round tip, and starting in the center of the cake pipes the cinnamon filling in a spiral pattern. A Ziploc bag snipped in one corner can be used also, but I went the easy way and just placed little chunks of the filling over the top of the cake chaotically. And it turned well, as you can see here. This cake needs to be cooled down before removing from the pan, so I will show you how the chicken pancakes turned out. This is my husband's portion. I serve these pancakes with a salad. Now I want to cook some rice as a side dish for the chicken breast, and the leftovers I will freeze for the later use. For the rice I add some oil into the frying pan as well as water, cover with a lid and let the water boil. Into the boiling water I add rice, stir, and on a medium heat cook under the lid about 20 minutes or until the rice is soft. In the water you can see some small black pieces. That is because I didn't wash the frying pan after frying chicken pancakes, and some of fried pieces were in the pan, but that is totally fine. Then I decided to add to the rice some homemade broth concentrate. I store it in the freezer, but because it has a ton of salt, it doesn't freezes into a nice cube and I can easily scoop it. After mixing in the broth concentrate, you can see how the color of the water changes, and I assure you this broth gives an awesome taste to the dish. Now finally cover with the lid and let the rice cook. I am also cooking some white rice to use later in sushi together with the salted salmon. I decided to make a basic salad we eat always. For this salad I use half of a cabbage. This cabbage is pretty old and some leaves started to fade and turn black. The cabbage didn't go bad, just some leaves look not pretty. But this is not a problem. While cutting I just remove the dark strips aside. Then I shred the carrots and slice an onion. In a big bowl, mix the cabbage with some salt added to taste, and I always crumple the cabbage with my hands to make it softer. Then I add shredded carrots and onion and mix the veggies right with my hands. Transfer the salad into the airtight container and will store it in the fridge for up to a week. I don't add any spices, oil or dressings. All of that will be added later, and each day I add something new to the salad so it will taste different. I also add additional veggies like spinach or cucumbers or tomatoes. Now I decided to cut the baked chicken breasts and divide them into 2 containers. One part we will eat in the next couple of days, and the second part I will freeze now to eat later. All kitchen smells cinnamon now, and I can see how buttery and moist this cake is. Thank you, Gemma, for the great recipe. This cake was a hit in our family. As you can see, I divided the white rice into 2 parts. I have some rice in the cottage cheese tub to freeze for a soup. Part of the baked salmon I will also freeze, as well as part of the baked chicken breasts. This is a salted salmon. It is not ready yet, it needs to sit in the fridge for 24 hours. Here are the pancakes, the salad, and of course the cake. To the brown rice I added some frozen veggies and just mixed them up, and also divided it into 2 containers. We'll use a smaller one for burritos later. This is all I cooked using only ingredients I had on hand. Hope you liked this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click that subscribe button. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye!